Most importantly, on China, we see the Chinese Communist Party also for what it is, the central threat of our times. Our vigorous diplomacy has helped lead an international awakening to the threat of the CCP. Senators, the tide's turning. We've terminated special treatment agreements with Hong Kong in response to the CCP's actions to deny freedom to the people of Hong Kong, and we closed our consulate in Houston because it was a den of spies. And in the region, in the Indo-Pacific, Australia declared China's South China Sea claims unlawful and illegitimate, as have we. And we're proud to have stepped up maritime maneuvers in that body of water alongside our friends from Australia and Japan and the United Kingdom.
Would you be okay? All right, let me ask you this. Have you raised concerns with Russia and its Foreign Minister Lavrov with respect to Russia reportedly placing bounties on the heads of service members in Afghanistan?
I want to be very careful about what's public record and what's intelligence-based, but yes, I can assure you and the American people that each time I've spoken with Foreign Minister Lavrov, I've raised all of the issues that put any American interest at risk, whether it's our soldiers on the ground in Syria, soldiers on the ground in Afghanistan, the activities that are taking place in Libya, the actions in Ukraine, each and every one of these that potentially threaten American interests are things that I raised in my conversations with Foreign Minister Lavrov, and I speak with him with some frequency.
I appreciate that answer. I ask you specifically, have you raised concerns? This is in the public sphere. I'm not talking about classified materials.
Senator.
Have you raised, there are public reports, very well documented, that the Russians were supposedly paying bounties to kill our service members. Have you raised that issue with Foreign Minister Lavrov?
Senator, I'm going to be more careful than you're being with respect to the intelligence. I'm going to tell you that, make no mistake about it, the proper people have been aware of every single threat to our soldiers on the ground in Afghanistan, whether that was General Miller or my team at the embassy there in Kabul. Anytime there was a tactical threat on the lives or the health or the safety and security or our assets in place, we have raised this with our Russian counterparts, not only at my level, but Ambassador Sullivan and every one of our team that interacts with the Russians. We've made very clear our expectations.
Let me turn to
threaten us in Afghanistan.
Let me turn.
We won't tolerate disinformation and other propaganda directed by the Kremlin or any of our other adversaries. Further on Russia, 2 weeks ago, the State Department removed Nord Stream 2's exemption under CATSA, and in December, the administration's swift implementation of PISA, an important bipartisan endeavor, effectively halted construction of the pipeline. We're the toughest administration ever on Russia. Man, you know, this is personal for me. I fought on the border of East Germany. When I was a young soldier, I was stationed
Yes, I'm
there.
aware of that.
Yeah.
And your unit is coming back to the United States.
I know it. It had been back once before to Fort Polk, and then it went back to Germany. When I was there were 6 figures of soldiers there. Germany is no longer a frontline state. As for our strategic effort, General Secretary Stoltenberg, NATO commander, was very much in the process of helping us think this through. I saw comments out of Russia this morning that are different than you described, that viewed the actions that we took as threatening, because we will have soldiers that are deployed closer to the Russian border. Yes, this was a thoughtful process. The military piece of this run out of the Pentagon largely, but State Department was fully involved in the strategic pieces of this, and I am very confident that our mission to deter Russia, the NATO mission to deter Russia, we are still fully capable of executing. The precise number was 200,000 early, about 100-some thousand when I was there. Conditions have changed around the world, and our forces need to be repositioned to appropriately confront today's challenges. So I must say, having a small group of people vote by absentee ballot is very different than deciding that you're going to conduct a full in-mail balloting program. Those are two fundamentally different pieces. I'll leave to the professionals to identify the level of risk associated with that. But I also know, and I saw this in my home state of Kansas, when you change the voting rules in close to an election, it's a difficult task.
So, Secretary Pompeo, if President Trump refuses to accept the upcoming November election due to his lack of faith in voting by mail, will you respect the results of a certified election as the State Department typically does throughout the world?
Senator, I'm not going to speculate yet. About 15 ifs in there. You should know. I have said repeatedly to this committee, I will follow the rule of law, follow the Constitution. I've endeavored to do that in everything I've done, and I'll continue to do that every day.
And then this morning, the president is suggesting that the presidential election should be delayed. And I sort of want to start there. This is not something that either you or I were prepared to talk about today because I think it happened in the middle of the hearing. The president sent out a tweet that said, quote, delay the election until people can properly, securely, and safely vote, question marks. Not saying it will happen, but raising a question. Can a president delay the November presidential election, Mr. Secretary?
Senator, I'm not going to enter a legal judgment on that on the fly this morning.
You are
Very kind of you, thank you.
You are one of the most highly trained and accomplished lawyers who are part of this administration. Can a president delay a presidential election?
Senator, in the end, the Department of Justice, others will make that legal determination. We all should want, I know you do too, Senator Kane, want to make sure we have an election that everyone is confident in. That's not only free,
Are you
validated.
indifferent to the date of the election?
It should happen lawfully.
Right.
Yeah.
It should happen lawfully.
Yeah.
So for the record, because you may not want to comment on it, but I do think it's important, a president cannot delay an election. The date of the election is established by Congress. It was established in 1845. There is no ability for a president to delay an election. And I don't think it's that hard a question or one that should lead to any equivocation by somebody who's fourth in line of succession to be president of the United States.